Have you ever wondered what will get people kicked off of a cruise ship? The answer may surprise you on a couple of these things. Although it's not very common, there are some things that will get passengers booted right off a cruise ship. I'm going to share with you the top 10 things that will more than likely get you kicked off a cruise ship. Did you know that we all agree to a cruise contract when we embark on a cruise, which includes a guest conduct policy? So what does this policy actually say? Do cruise lines have the right to kick you off? And how do we know if what we do will get us kicked off? Well, when you book a cruise, you're signing a contract with the cruise line. One of these sections in the contract has their terms and conditions that has their code of conduct policy. The way that this contract is worded is what will get you and gives the cruise line the right to kick you off. The verbiage in this policy reads, "Failure to comply with this policy, any other of our policies, or any instruction communicated by us, the cruise line, or the crew, at any time in any form, written or oral, will be considered a breach of this policy and may result in enforcement action." So what are these enforcement actions? Well, denial of boarding, or removal from the ship, or private destination without any compensation or refund. In certain circumstances, enforcement actions may result not only in removal of the guest, but removal of all other persons in the guest travel party. Now, this policy is subject to the captain's authority. It goes even further by saying a guest's actual or threatened violation of this policy and any of our policies, you don't even have to do it. All you have to do is threaten to do it, and they can kick you off the cruise ship, or even lock you in your room or put you in a brig. You could even lose things like your loyalty benefits. They can either temporarily or permanently demote your status. You can be denied boarding on this cruise or any future cruises. These policies do say that if you are denied boarding because of a violation of policy, or if you're removed, it's the guest's responsibility to secure their own accommodations and transportation home. Basically, the cruise lines are just going to wash their hands and say, well, there you go, figure it out. So what are some of these things that will get you kicked off a cruise ship? Number one may not be very common at all, but you can guarantee if you don't do it, you'll be kicked off right there in port before you ever even leave. And that's refusing to attend the muster drill or complete the safety briefing. All cruise passengers are required to attend the muster drill and complete a mandatory safety briefing before the cruise ship leaves on embarkation day. The ship is not allowed to leave until this is completed by every passenger. So if you decide that you just don't want to do it, you can be removed from the cruise ship. I'm sure this has happened somewhere, but I haven't heard of it happening on any of the cruises that I've been on so far. Number two thing that will get you kicked off is fighting or disruptive behavior. Disruptive behavior, which does include fighting on a cruise ship. Unfortunately, this happens from time to time. Someone had too much to drink, or maybe the stress of how much they've spent is getting to them. But whatever the case, fighting or being disruptive will get you removed from the ship. Some cruise lines are becoming stricter about their code of conduct and policies for guests. On Carnival Cruise Line's website, they state that disruptive behavior is not tolerated, and any guest whose conduct affects the comfort, enjoyment, safety, or well-being of other guests or crew will be disembarked at their own expense and banned from sailing on Carnival in the future. So the number three thing that will get you kicked off a cruise ship is throwing things overboard. Cruise passengers are not allowed to throw anything overboard. These days, cruise lines take this very seriously. Their responsibility is to protect the ocean and communities where they sail. Guests are not permitted to throw anything overboard, no matter how big or small. If you're caught, and there are many cameras, so it's pretty likely that you will be, violations can result in $500 or more and reimbursement of any expenses incurred by the cruise line where they have to go collect whatever it was that you threw overboard. Not only can you get a fine, but you will probably be kicked off the cruise ship at the next port of call. Number four is offensive language and verbal abuse. There are some obvious things that you do not want to do on a cruise ship that will be disrespectful and offensive to crew or other guests. However, less obvious but still just as bad is wearing offensive graphic t-shirts with swear words or graphic and sexual images. There is no doubt that at some point someone is going to do something that you don't like. The thing is, you don't have to point it out or say anything about it to them. You're only there for a few days, so there's no sense in being verbally abusive or starting something. If something is wrong, whether with your room, your account, or anything that upsets you, it's not a personal attack on you, it's probably an honest mistake. So don't take it out on the crew. At number 5 is medical reasons. Unfortunately, cruise passengers who become seriously ill may need to get disembarked so they can get the appropriate medical intervention. This is never something that they like to think about, but one of the reasons that everyone should get travel insurance for a cruise. Health policies can get you kicked off. If you get on board knowing that you have a medical condition that can be contagious, they can confine you to your cruise cabin or remove you from the ships. Guests who refuse to provide health information or who willfully provide inaccurate health information to the medical teams as part of the health screening can be denied boarding or quarantined to your room. Some people may not think about this one, but fraternizing with crew members, you can't do it and it could get you kicked off the ship. It's not just passengers, but crew members also that can get kicked off. Crew members are friendly, outgoing, and helpful, and they will do their very best to make a guest vacation as enjoyable as possible. Crew members are prohibited from engaging in physical relations with guests. Crew members are not permitted to socialize with guests beyond their professional duties and are not permitted to be in guest staterooms except for the performance of their shipboard duties. Guests are not permitted in any restricted crew area of the ship, including crew staterooms or corridors. If you're caught, not only can you get into a lot of trouble, but the crew member can as well, and they can even lose their job. Number 7 is theft or any other crime. Commit a crime on a cruise ship and expect to be detained and possibly arrested at the next cruise port. Theft of any kind is taken very seriously and will get you in hot water. Cruise ships actually have a brig or a small jail where they can put you if they need to. If you commit vandalism, steal, get too drunk, be obnoxious, you might just find yourself there. Number 8 is bring illegal drugs on board a cruise ship. Bringing illegal drugs on board ships is not allowed and is likely to result in being denied boarding without refund or compensation, and even denied from being able to cruise ever again. These days, many people wonder about medical marijuana, especially since it may be legal in some jurisdictions. It doesn't matter if you have medical marijuana card or not. Remember, it may be legal in your state, but it's still a federal crime, and cruise ships adhere to the rules of the countries that they are visiting. Those rules supersede state law or any other law. If you get caught with any type of drugs, you can be denied boarding or removed from the ship. At number 9, climbing on cruise ship railings. This is not only dumb, but it can get you kicked off a cruise ship. This shouldn't need to be said, but unfortunately there are those daredevils who enjoy doing things that border on thrilling and kind of idiotic. There are cameras all over the ship, so don't climb on the railings. This includes jumping balconies from one to the other, trying to get into your friend's room. I heard about this happening on one of the ships, and those people were left at the next port. Some people climb on the railings trying to get that perfect selfie or Instagram post. Dangerous and reckless behavior like this can get you kicked off the cruise ship. Sadly, there's been cruise passengers who have fallen, and the situation did not end well for them. This is dangerous behavior, and the cruise lines take this very seriously. Speaking of dangerous and disturbing behaviors, that's our number 10. This needed a category of its own, as there are a variety of disturbing behaviors that can get people booted from a cruise ship. While in many cases, some passengers who misbehave may get a warning or a good talking to. There have been several cases where people who exhibit disruptive or disturbing behaviors on cruise are left at the next port of call. Some other things that cruise lines consider dangerous behavior is going into restricted areas of the cruise ship. You know, the areas that say crew only. The cruise lines have a blanket statement that says anything they, the cruise line, usually the captain or officer in charge, that determines as dangerous or unsafe behavior can get you in trouble. They can put you in a brig or confine you to your room. You can even be removed from the ship. This category has a long list the cruise line considers dangerous or unsafe behaviors. A few more are uninvited physical contact, harassment, using fake or false identification, underage drinking, providing alcohol to those who are underage, placing material anywhere on the interior or exterior of the ship. This includes stateroom doors, along the corridors, etc. You can't do this without the express permission of ship management. People put stuff on their stateroom doors all the time. This technically is a violation of the ship rules, but most of the time it's overlooked. By having this in there, anything that you put on your door that they consider offensive can be removed, or you can even get in trouble for it. So there you go, guys. That is my top 10 list of things that can get you kicked off a cruise ship. I hope that you found this video useful, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next adventure.